Pop Metal Show.
So you want me to go with my next one?
3.
I guess
We're
it'll
on
be my
number 3.
three.
Yeah.
All right, so this was number 1 for a little while because when I listened to it, I'm like, damn, that thing is good.
Oh, it's a damn good album.
And you know, I got thinking on this album, and I don't know if String knows this, but String introduced me to this band.
And Tom from Town of Campus Records is the reason I bought this album.
He come down to house, and this is when me and Love had that house down there at Timberville, and he said, "Man, you need to hear this version of Shout by this band called Disturbed. They used to come out, and I really liked that. Mm-hmm. And then we started hearing Down with the Sickness, and I was like, damn, this stuff's pretty good. And lo and behold, I bought it, and I was like, God, this is a good album.
Got a lot of spins, didn't it?
Yeah, this is a good album. So, and still to this day, I pulled it out and listened to it the other day, and the song "Down with the Sickness" is heavy as hell and catchy as hell, and that song needs to be said. That's why they're my number 3.
And and I kind of forgot about that, but after you started talking about it, I was like, you know what? I remember going downtown campus, and Tom's like, this album here, man, you ought to go check this one out. And I was like, fuck it, I'll buy it. And I bought it, and I hadn't heard anything off of it. I just went with his. I mean, he was just trying to sell a record, but Tom he knew his shit. He wasn't like a regular record store. He was exactly. He's not like a major record store where they're just trying to sell you something. They don't give a shit whether it's any good or not. He knew what we bought. He knew everybody that came into the store. So if it was something he thought you'd be interested in, he was going to suggest it.
But Chris done that too.
Chris came from a big box store, but she's a gem in herself. So anyway, so
we got to plug Chris.
Yeah, because we love her. So my number 3, and I'm just going to say every band on my list I seen that year. So, and I don't know that made a difference, but it probably did in the back of my mind without thinking about it. So my number 3, Armored Saint, Revelation. Man, when I went back and
I saw them.
I saw them.
I've never saw them.
And I went to Jack's, so that was going to be a good one. Darren Dove was at the same show too.
Yeah, see, I've never saw them.
Man, that was dude. I think David Rosenberger went with me. I think he and I might have been the only ones that went together. I think we just went together. I don't remember. Maybe Mike May. I can't remember if Mike went or not. But I know Dave. I'm pretty sure Dave went with me, or we rode together, whatever. But man, I went back and I was like, man, I forgot this song was on there, and oh man, this song's on there too. It's like I hadn't listened to it for a while, and actually, I recorded this show while I was there. I recorded it, and so I got the whole recording. I got the audio recording of it. So actually, I think I was gonna upload it to YouTube, but I never ended up doing it. I traded it with some people, I think, but that was about the extent of it.
2000, this pre-cell phone.
Yeah, this. I had my mini disc recorder. I was recording a lot of shit back then.
Yeah, you had to be quiet while you sing.
I might even, because you couldn't. And it always pissed me off when somebody wanted to have a conversation beside of me, or woo, them girls that always want to scream the whole time. Anyway, but it is what it is when you bootleg a show.
That's just
when you're bootlegging. That's what you get. You get what you get. But anyway, so that's. Yeah, you missed out a damn good show on that one, but a damn good album too. John Bush. I mean, I know Randy wants us to do something on John Bush, and he's very underrated too. I think. Yeah. He don't get enough love.
Well, he's like, him, Krabby, always kind of, they both did the same thing. Mm-hmm. They filled in for 2 great bands well. Mm-hmm.
I mean, Krabby only did it for one album, but John did it for several. But and that was another band that the Stomp 442.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
8, is that,
The one with the big junk ball thing on the cover.
that's Stomp.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it seemed like there was another one that he was on that didn't. When I was going through lists on their worst albums, that I was like, "How do you hate that album?"
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Anyway,
Well, all right, so we're going to go with my number 2.
let's do it.
Should I just tell them the speech I always give you? How do you go platinum?
We talked about this in the last album
10 million albums. How do you sell 10 million albums and nobody buys it?
because it's a good album.
It's a kick-ass album. Whether you want to admit it or not.
I think that's what it boils down to. A lot of people just, I don't want to call them a closet fan, but I think a lot of people just want to hate because they want to hate. But and honestly, if you sit down and you listen to it, it's a solid album. I mean, it really is a good album.
Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory. Yeah, I mean, I'll say it till the day I die. You don't sell that many albums and nobody owns it.
Exactly. I mean,
It is like you said. It's probably one of them things where, well, I don't, because I mean, we're all guilty of it. I don't want to admit that I like this, but that shit's in my collection.
I mean,
Limp Bizkit, $3 bill, y'all.
how many? All right,
I own that.
all right. So let's go back to this too. I mean, I don't remember if anything was it off of this album or was it off their after the album after? What year did the first Transformers come out? Wasn't that one of their songs on that album?
Yeah, but that was like a little bit after this.
All right, but they had what, 2 movies that come out and both of them had their songs on it. It doesn't suck.
And I tell you what, I saw them at Ozfest, and once I saw them live,
Yeah,
I was a fan.
yeah.
Because what they were doing, I mean, they were pulling, Limp Bizkit might have been doing it. They had 2 singers, and their shit was like, it was unreal.
I mean,
they were pulling it off. I mean,
what year was that? 2001.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what Jerry told me.
Yeah,
'Cause
because
You
we're,
got-
we're not gonna know. And I was
Well,
I took a picture of the back of my shirt just because I was like, how many of these albums or bands had actual albums out? And probably at least 50%, maybe 50. I don't even know if it's 50%. It's like at least 45% had albums come out that year.
Well, I know since we did Marilyn Manson with Jerry, Ozfest, Bill, he's a go-to.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. If I want to know, like I told him, I was like, I need to know when Linkin Park played at Ozfest.
Well,
Oh, he was on it, just like that.
and for me, the hardest thing for me to remember is they used to, like, they'd have a band play over here on the side stage, and then you had to walk up the hill and go back in over to this hill. But the way the pavilion was set up and where they had the second stage at, because it was in a parking lot, like a gravel lot over here, and for you to see this band, and then it ended up they would earlier,
overlap.
yeah, they would overlap. So you had to miss this band if you wanted to see this band over here or you had to stand at the top of the hill and to catch both of them, and then you had both bands playing at the same time. Sometimes it was horrible to try to catch every band, and so a lot of the bands I didn't get to see on the earlier shows. And then as the Ozfest progressed, they got a little better, and they had 2 side stages over here, and then at a certain time, then the main stage would play. So that it got a lot better, and it was easier to catch all the bands you wanted to see.
I bet Jerry could probably still give you even the freaking times.
He probably could.
What time they went
Time slots. At one point, I'd always print them off before we would go, just so we knew who was playing at what time. And
Still couldn't make
yeah,
it.
and still missed a lot of the bands.
All right, what you got for number 2?
My number 2, Pantera, Reinventing the Steel.
Really?
Yes. Solid album. Because they kind of went back, and because like from Cowboys, they progressively got heavier and heavier and heavier. And then they put out an album called Reinventing the Steel, which is like, hey, we're going to take a step back and we're going to lighten things up. But you look at the songs that are on that.
I listened to it. I didn't.
That's solid. For me, it's solid. I love that
I mean,
album.
Goddamn Electric and what's the song they released off that?
Well, they released that one too, didn't they?
They might have released that, but it's first song they released.
Yeah, but I can't remember what all else.
I like that tune,
It's
but I don't know. It just sounds so distant,
well,
and
I think
it's just like you can hear.
it's a difference in
hear the
production, but
I don't know. You
songs I think are.
I just didn't feel like they were just functioning as a band on that, but
Well, and I mean, I kind of agree to that agree with that statement to a certain extent, but you look at what Saint Anger had when you had that
Oh, well,
same
yeah,
scenario,
it's like-
and this is totally
yeah,
different.
I mean, yeah.
I gotta look it up now.
Yeah, I mean, I had it on my list. I listened to it because it's like one of them albums that you think's going to grow on you as me, but it's still when I compare it to the rest of their collection as far as feel.
Revolution is my name.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But this is I'll Cast a Shadow was released in UK.
See, I don't remember that song.
And see, I remember the song, but I don't remember it being released here, so maybe that was only released in the UK. But I thought they released, well, that's all it's saying is singles. This is Wikipedia, by the way, so.
No, you can't go by that
Yeah,
shit.
well, that's what I'm saying.
Because they told me that Infest was released in 01, and
I mean, yesterday don't mean shit.
yeah,
That's a fucking great song.
Yeah, that's a good song.
We'll grind that axe for a long time. That's a damn good song.
But I don't know. I still didn't. I mean, I even sampled it.
Well, that's what these are for.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, I mean, really, we only had one album that shared. So, and you haven't listed that one yet. So,
All right, so
and that's your pick.
my last BLS. I'm going with Fred. Stronger Than Death.
It's fucking a great album.
And I mean, it's a great album, but then after String talking about all stories, it just makes it that much greater. Mm-hmm. It just, Zach is,
He's the
he's
man.
in a league of his own.
He is. He
He
really
always
is.
will be.
He's super talented. He likes to cut up and joke around and be funny, and
He
he's a good guy at heart, and I think that's another reason why.
He's like what we talked about Jason.
Yeah.
He's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, he makes you feel like you're, like when you go to his show, he makes you feel like you're part of the gang. Mm-hmm. I mean, with that, and he does that with everybody. Mm-hmm. You know, you are considered family.
Yeah, and the way he looks at it, I'm sure there are other bands that kind of do that same thing, but the way he put it forth and the way he ran with it was like you said, you're a family. You know, in each town or each city, they had their own family chapters. You know, and it was almost like a biker gang, but
Like a brotherhood.
Yeah, it's a brotherhood more than that's a better output than.
Because it's like, well, we've always said, you know, if you go down the street and you see somebody with a Black Label shirt,
Oh yeah.
they're cool as fuck.
Well, you know they're going to say
Yeah.
something to you.
Yeah, I mean, because it's that brotherhood thing.
Yep, yep.
I mean, you don't even know you from Adam, but you're wearing
Well,
a Black Label shirt.
Honestly, you know, I've been out in public and somebody will thank me. Doesn't matter what shirt I got on. If it's a metal shirt,
Yeah.
they're thanking me. Hey
Yeah.
man, that's a great shirt, man. Glad to see you wearing that, or something like that.
Yeah.
And if I see somebody else, I'll say, hey man, cool shirt.
Yeah, representing.
Yeah, man, and that's and there's a lot of that.
I mean, now that you think about it, there is.
I mean, it doesn't. It's more of the metal side of it. You'll see, it's a family setting in metal music. Period. But
Well,
he took it to another level.
More than any other genre of music, I think.
Yeah.
Because I've always said, it's kind of like with Motley Crue. I'm going to be a Motley Crue fan for life. I'll be a metal fan for life. I mean, I'm creeping up on 50. There's no sign of, there's nothing that makes me think it's going to change. I mean, it's probably I'm even more passionate about it than I was 10 years ago. We wouldn't be doing this if we wasn't.
Exactly. All right. My number one, Nevermore, Dead Heart in a Dead World. fantastic album. Love this album. When I saw it was came out, because like I said, I'm horrible at remember what years things come out. And when I saw this was in my 2000, I knew immediately, number one. I seen them. This was my last band that they played after Sentenced. And actually, you know what? That wasn't the same show. I can't remember. Oh, that was In Flames was after Sentenced. But Nevermore, I saw them that same year. But fantastic show. And this is the first time I got to see them. Well, this is the only time I've seen them live. And
Well, did we decide that's the only time you're going to get to see him live?
yes, because he died, Dane,
Last year.
last year. Yeah, like again, horrible at memory in years.
I think it was last year. I don't think it was as new as this year.
So yeah, he passed away, and I think it ended up being a heart attack. Great singer, and I love that album. And like I said, it's probably because I seen him on that album, but that's kind of where I'd heard other albums before I seen them, but that one I latched on to, and just it's that whole album, song for song, start to finish, phenomenal. So that's my number one.
All right, and you heard everybody else's number one.
A lot of hybrid theories in there, but
yeah,
but it was a strong album, and there was, like I said, if all this other great stuff didn't come out the same year, I probably would have had
well, I mean,
a handful of those. Well, I can't.
I
We only had
almost
five,
wanted to do,
so
like, I thought about leaving out, like the Disturbed and Linkin Park, because everybody knows them albums, and I was gonna put in like. I told him Alice Cooper's Brutal Planet. Love that album. It's a great album. And
I haven't heard that one, so I can't say for sure.
Slash is Snake Pit, which I didn't really like the first album. Did an album called Ain't Life Grand that year, and that's an awesome album. Of course, The Crew released New Tattoo with Randy Castillo. That was just name a couple that I had on there, AC/DC. But
Well, see, I had Halford's Resurrection, Hammerfall's Renegade, Linkin Park, Mudvayne's LD50, Overkill had Bloodletting, Propane had Round 6. I don't think I seen Propane that year, but I did go see Propane, but I think it was either the year before or the year after. Shadows Fall of One Blood, Symphony X had the new Mythology, and that's just the ones I highlighted, but there's like Within Temptation had an album, Scorpions, Saxon. I mean, there was a ton of like
yeah, when
bands that put out. Yeah, I mean, Paul Di'Anno.
I mean, Godsmack, Awake. I know Robert Ford has said that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good album. And
Well, there's so much.
Kill Switch had an album out that year. Yeah, I mean, it was a whole ton list. But then, also when we was talking about this, Brittany Fox, you thought you misread it, but you said you thought Brittany Fox broke up that year, but they actually reformed. So we saw them probably that year or the year after, if they reformed, because we saw them after they got back together. Wasn't it?
I don't know. I saw them.
Well, when we went to Jack's is the one
89.
I'm talking about. Well, I'm talking about when you saw them probably open up,
Yeah, they opened
during
for
their time.
Kiss,
But
for Rap.
that was probably close to the same time we saw them. And then also that was the same year that Rage Against the Machine broke up.
Yeah. And now they're back getting ready to do their big tour.
Well, that was supposed to happen last year,
Yeah,
and
COVID.
COVID fixed that. So
All right, you want to wrap this one up?
yes, another almost 40-minute video. Woohoo!
If y'all want to see a certain year, leave it down in the comments section.
Yes, these are hard.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Well, this year probably wasn't as hard for me as, what did you say we did, 87?
87. Yeah.
Yes. I know that one was a hard one.
All right.
Anyway,
Y'all be good. Stay safe. Stay strong.
stay healthy. Love, hate. Thanks for hanging.